on Mill Fork?
Well, I was born on Mill Fork, Braxton County. I tell folks 400 years after Columbus discovered America. See, you have to do some figuring. But I was born in 1892 on January 16th. We lived on Mill Fork for till I was 4 years old. And then Dad traded for this farm over on Tanner. And of course we had to move. So Uncle William hauled our household effects in a wagon, and Mother and Ben and Lena rode in the wagon. There wasn't any road through the hills, up Tanner over the hill, so Dad and 3 older boys came down Mill Fork and across the hill through the horse path. They brought the horse and the cow and old Rover, but we had to go down around Deer Creek and up Tanner, and it took us about all day, of course, to make the trip, but we finally made it. It was in the spring of 1896. I was, of course, 4 years old.
Well, could you remember that? You remember making that trip when you was 4?
Not very much about the trip, just a few things I can remember. We stopped at, Henry Schock had a sugar camp, and we stopped at his sugar camp, and he gave us some of his sugar water, sweet, you see. And so I remember very little. I remember when we got to the old home place there on Tanner, that the plum trees were in bloom. It was springtime, and just a very few things when I was 4 years old that I can really remember. But some things about the moving and how we rode in the wagon and things like that.
Now, where was the old home place on Tanner? Where was that? Was that close to where Grandpa Miller lived for
That's
years and years?
in the old house where Grandpa Miller lived. That's where the house was. It was a log house. There was 2, and then there was the entrance between the 2 log houses. Of course, we lived in one end and had the kitchen and cookware in the other end, and there's a porch along the front. So we had to go from here, clear around, to get to the kitchen when we wanted to have a meal. And but the old log house stood right there where the present house stands.
Was that the same house that burnt down a long time ago, that then they tore it down and built
We tore it down and built this other one right on the same spot.
Where did he move to, down where Uncle Ben lived?
We moved into this house that was already there. There was a chimney and a fireplace in one end of it, and there's where we lived, and the burnt wood, of course, in the fireplace.
It stood where Uncle Ben
and
what we know of Uncle Ben's place.
see, I don't hear a bit good.
Now, how many kids was there then whenever you moved?
How many kids?
Yeah.
There was 6. You see, Loney was born on Tanner in 1897, but there were 6 of us. You see, there was the 3 in the wagon, younger ones. Lena was, of course, just a couple of years old or something, and the other 3 come back, walked through with the horse, I suppose. You see, Leroy at that time would have been 13 years old, and about 2 years down between Grover and John, you see. We made John about, probably 9 years old or something like that, you see. And so, of course, they had the horse, and no doubt he rode some on the horse. But they come up and down Tanner,